Hello and welcome to 3 Pints and a Clean Sheet, where it's just 2 pints today. How are you, Greg?
I'm good. I'm good. Still upset that last week there was some technical issues with the footage that meant we sadly couldn't bring you an episode. I'm going to blame it all on Kyle because he's not here.
And he's not here to defend himself, so we'll just leave it at that. But we do apologise
Exactly.
and we will make up for it. But this is now episode 78, so you're just going to have to deal with it. We've been
Everyone at Rocketman01 on Twitch, you should, when he's streaming, you should go on and give him abuse about why he mucked it up last week.
I'm not saying anything. The corrupted files as well. That's what happened.
That's
So,
the
anyway.
excuse Kyle's decided to pick.
Well, how did you get on? I've notably wearing my Queen's top, but you were there. Give us
I
a
did.
rundown.
I had a lovely Saturday afternoon watching Queen of the South playing Montrose reserves and look like a competent football team is how I described them for the first half. Queen of the South actually looked quite good. Harvey Walker looked surprisingly dangerous. Big Mbongo through the middle looked decent. Notable that the play was coming more from the defence than the midfield of Josh Todd and Harry Cochrane. And Alex Ferguson, who I forgot was even playing. However, the 2 goals Queen scored were pretty good. The 2 goals Mbongo scored.
I heard Mbongo was a screamer, but I don't know. You were there to confirm that.
Screamer's a bit far. It was like a nice shot from the edge of the box. It wasn't a screamer.
Better than usual.
Yeah, like it was decent, and then the second half was just Queen's first goal.
Just before we go on to the sad side of the story, for all that Mbongo got slagged off by Hamilton fans and that he was absolutely terrible, he's actually been a decent signing for us.
This has been his best ever season in terms of goals and assist returns for us. He gets slagged a lot by Hamilton fans. If there's no future for him at Hamilton, I'll quite happily have him full time next season because he looks a threat.
I quite like him as well. It's that mask. It's like when Danilo had the mask on. It just works.
It's always the mask. I just think of Andy Carroll.
I forgot about that actually. Yeah. So notable. I was receiving some updates from another Queen's supporter of some inflatables that were taken. There was a rumor there was a seagull kicking about.
No idea what you're talking about.
A gentleman sitting with a crown on was also what I got told.
I've heard just he's a bit special.
The special one.
Yeah. No, the seagull enjoyed his day out. The seagull watched 2 Queen's goals and then a Queen's collapse. What more can you ask for?
So I get to see at Palmerston. Flying about.
The Queen's collapse was. Let's get onto that, shall we? The Queen's collapse. The first goal was just a free kick, which was a free kick. Like it was a really well worked free kick, and then he decided to sub the goalkeeper.
Yeah, that one surprised me because considering that would have been Harry Stone's last game, I thought obviously if you were going to do that, you maybe.
But it's also not like Botterill's not played this season.
I know.
If it's like a youngster on the bench or someone who's not played at all season, fair enough. But also, do it at half time. Don't do it immediately after you've conceded.
Yeah, I was a bit like.
Like, it's really stupid to do it at it's stupid to do it at 2-0 after 55 minutes. It's even more stupid to do it at 2-1.
Yeah. It's just a strange one.
I really don't understand. There's kind of context about Gavin Riley. Again, you could tell Riley looked injured when he came on. He came on from Mbongo, who was our biggest threat in the game. It was 2-2 at that point. You could tell no one was really taking it that seriously. Mbongo was quite annoyed to go off when he was on a hat-trick. But obviously, Riley getting his 200th appearance and final appearance for Queens, going part-time next season.
Phil Peter's just wanted back already.
Ultimately, though, we need a better striker if we want to go up.
He was always going to go, or he wasn't going to be the main man for much longer, to be honest. He's getting on. I mean, I think he'll be suited to our growth. Bit of a you're going from one end to the other, to be honest, in terms of.
Well, he still lives kind of in the Edinburgh Fife area, apparently. So
I knew it wouldn't have been Dumfries, but I didn't think it was that far. But it's one of those, isn't it? Ultimately, the big news after it wasn't the collapse. It was that Bartley's finally gone.
Hey!
I never thought we'd actually get to say it, but here we are. Good riddance. His time was up. a long time ago, but it's only just happened now. It's
Family
obviously been,
members of mine keep asking where he's getting his next job, and anyone who's watched any of Bartley's tenure at Queen's knows that there's no chance any sane football club gives him a job.
I don't know, he's not suited to this level anyway. He might get a stroke of luck playing in a higher league, but he's probably destined to take over the Livy job, to be honest. But going by CV, good luck, Livingston fans, if it does happen. That's the one rumour I am seeing.
Yeah, he's consigned to be on Super Scoreboard and Viaplay or Premier Sports for the foreseeable, isn't he?
Well, I don't watch Super Scoreboard for that reason, or
I
listen to
don't
it
watch
rather.
Super Scoreboard at all.
But yeah, finally gone. So a lot of Queens fans happy. To be fair, I think most Queens fans are happy. And the next discussion, I think, will be who fills those shoes. However, that's not on the running order, so we're going to leave that for this week.
It's not. It is, however, important to say, I think, at the time, I didn't mind gambling on Bartley. I was one of the few who thought, do you know what, it's not the worst idea. But it's turned out to be an absolute disaster.
Need someone with experience.
Yeah. Need someone who just plays. Literally in this league, you need a competent 4-4-2 with a big man and a little man up top. It's not hard.
We Queens won't play two strikers and it pisses me off.
Correct.
Well, a Scottish manager who's leaving a job is David Moyes, who said he'll be leaving West Ham at the end of the season.
Yes, well, I don't know how much of his choice it is. I think his contract is actively not being renewed.
Yeah, it seems that way anyway. A notable pundit saying, Mr. I don't really want to name him, to be honest, but
Yes, name him, because then I can call him a prick.
Okay. Mr. Merson has warned West Ham to be careful what they wish for. Obviously, the thing that stuck out in my head was like, he's essentially been sacked. Maybe you can't really say it, but it looks that way. But obviously, did a great job in winning the Conference League, bringing a bit of silverware. They've had better seasons. Obviously, this season's been a bit of a shadow on his tenure, but I don't know. He's implying that they should give him another season at least.
Do you know what? I think it's a really difficult decision.
Yeah.
The Premier League form has been. I didn't realise they were kind of still kicking about the top half, to be honest.
Ninth.
Yeah, but like.
Could be worse.
It doesn't feel like ninth. I don't think I've watched West Ham win this season, to be honest.
Yeah, it's just kind of been a bit of a downer, but maybe it's always one of those. They've had their highs and now they're kind of hitting their lows.
Yeah, they've got quite a decent level of quality in that squad. They've obviously made a few transfers that perhaps haven't been the best. Thinking, for example, Scamacca being one of them. There's the stadium issue. They want to become one of those big clubs. The Premier League has a lot of. They've kind of got some clubs who are the big clubs. Whether they actually are or not is a different story. But they've got, outside the so-called top six. And you know what? Let's chuck Spurs in. Let's call them even the top three at the minute. You've kind of got, at the moment, a top three of Arsenal, Liverpool, Man City. And, God knows what will happen at the end of the season with Liverpool. But you've also got a group of, pretenders for the rest of it. You've got Man United. It's basically everyone in the European race down to about 10th. You've got Man United and Chelsea, and to some extent Spurs, who are kind of big clubs, big-ish clubs.
They're more the traditional teams that were always in those other positions that have now kind of fallen off and are going through a bit of a rough time.
Yeah, those kind of in the middle of a rebuild, which you can kind of label Spurs into that camp as well, though I don't really think Spurs belong in any big team. Spurs have a stadium. That's the only thing that puts them into the so-called big team camp. They had a stadium when they reached the Champions League final. They've not actually won anything or, been consistently good enough for long enough to be up there, but it's fine. So you've kind of got the Spurs, Man United, Chelsea. You've kind of got the Newcastle, Villa pretenders of teams with a bit of money trying to break into that kind of so-called elite who can probably get decent European football for a season, but the squad isn't really good enough to challenge for the title. I think that's where West Ham want to be. I think West Ham want to kind of join that line of teams.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Oh, no, I get what you're saying. I would agree, to be honest. And It's just
Is that all of the Premier League top 9 I've named, basically?
yeah, bar Villa.
No, I named Villa.
Did you bar Newcastle?
I named Newcastle. I named Newcastle,
Yeah.
Villa, and West Ham as kind of the 3 outside the top 6 who wants to try and kind of push that narrative. Because then team in 10th is Bournemouth.
It does look like I wasn't listening, but I get what you're saying. I was. There were too many teams there. It's one of those. I feel like the Premier League at the minute, so you've got teams that fluctuate so much. When you think how like Brighton were absolutely storming it last season for a while, and then they're sitting in 11th.
That's the kind of thing I'm trying to say about European football. There are some teams there who are capable of getting European football, and then when European football happens, their squad perhaps isn't good enough to sustain both.
Brentford as well. I know that's not a case of European football, but they've been doing well, and so I'm pretty sure they had a decent season last season.
They just overachieved last season. I think they finished 9th.
Yeah.
I think it really pains me to say the word Paul Merson is possibly right, but to be honest, I don't even think it's because I don't even think his reasoning's right. I don't think he's right to be careful what they wish for because Moyes won them a trophy. Because I don't know if any West Ham fans think they belong in a place where they should be winning trophies. I think it's be careful what you wish for board, because a change, as we've seen on many occasions, a change of manager at the wrong time to the wrong person, you can end up relegated quite easily.
Yeah. It's one of those. It's going to be an interesting time for them.
Spurs, not Spurs, Southampton would be a good example of that. If they were kind of kicking about that top half
good point, actually.
Realm and then made a series of poor managerial appointments and ended up down there.
Yeah, they kind of got what they deserved for doing that, I think.
Leicester did the opposite, though. Held on to Rodgers.
Yeah. I did think that, because then it was they kind of went into turmoil after that. I think it was the name after how he did well at Liverpool. They just wanted to see if it hold out, but that's what you get.
Goes both ways, though.
Yeah, there's a favourite to take over, and I'm going to let you say his name because I always butcher it.
What, Julian Lopetegui?
That's the one. He's favourite to take over from what I've read.
If you believe the rumours, the deal's basically done already. That's who the board want. There's also rumours of kind of the same managers that are kicking about all summer, of Ruben Amorim. That's basically the two candidates. I think Amorim could probably do better than West Ham. Lopetegui doesn't have an... I think he did all right at Wolves.
Yeah.
Finished 13th in what was, by all accounts, a fairly stressful financial situation. Left, finished 13th. Gary O'Neill's came in. Wolves probably, if it wasn't for definitely if it wasn't for injuries and VAR screwing them over, would be in that top 10 European contention this season with Gary O'Neill. But ultimately, they're on track to be about the same as they were under Lopetegui. He's got a 37% win record. His spell at Real Madrid was pretty disastrous.
Yeah, that was the notable one I can think of.
The 5-1 defeat against Barca.
I forgot that was him. I just remember they didn't do that well.
Yep. Didn't do too awful at
Sevilla after that, was it not?
Sevilla didn't do too awful in his time in Spain at the manager of Spain. Actually unbeaten in his spell in manager of Spain. Now I've seen it.
I think it'd be an interesting appointment. I don't think it'd be a bad one.
Again, it's a manager with decent pedigree. It depends on a multitude of things.
Yeah.
The other question I was going to say is, can they keep the squad together? And I don't know anyone who wants many members of the West Ham squad.
Your Bowens and that, really, that's who they want to keep.
Bowen would be perhaps the only one.
Yeah.
It's an alright top half Premier League squad.
Yeah. I think
with lots of players they played a decent bit of money for.
Yeah, and I think going forward, they need to have some probably clever investment to kind of get them out of that stage.
Yeah.
So, be interesting to see what happens to them. I do have a wee soft spot for West Ham. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, you speaking of a manager who I thought would have been sacked by now, going by the record, is you always see it on X or Twitter, what I'm going to call it Twitter.
Well,
ETH. How is Erik Ten Hag still in a job going by some of these results? 4
I
0
said this.
loss to Crystal Palace. What is going on at Old
So Man
Trafford?
United were in the Man United are now 8th. A few weeks ago they were like 5th or 6th, and the strong candidate for staying there. And I was very confused how they were there because Man United seem to embarrass themselves pretty much every week. There seems to be an embarrassment and an inquest pretty much every week at Old Trafford at the minute.
Yeah. But at this rate, if they don't win the FA Cup, they'll have no European football. Or do they? Because
8th might get a Conference League place.
maybe. Oh, yeah, because of the new ruling. But I mean, they're now, not theoretically, because you're theoretically, but if they don't win the FA Cup, they probably won't
I think
get a European place. And that's, I think, the only reason
if
he's still in
Villa
the job.
turn it round in Europe.
I suppose, and then there's another spot, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think he's still in a job if he is not in the FA Cup final.
To be honest, if you're Man United, I think you get rid regardless.
No, but I think that's probably the reasoning for not sacking him yet.
No, I think they just don't want to do it mid-season. What's the
Maybe.
point? What are you going to gain from it? There's 3 games left.
Humbled by Crystal Palace.
Notably, games against Arsenal, Newcastle, and Brighton. None of which are going to be easy. Newcastle Man United is going to be an absolute barn burner.
Here's another one for you to call a prick. Jamie Carragher says that United are one of the most poorly coached teams in the Premier League.
He's correct.
I know, but I thought you still called him a prick regardless.
Oh, sorry, prick.
And he made a comment about Casemiro. Should call it a day at the top level after 2 of his mistakes led to 2 Elise goals.
He was playing centre half. He isn't a centre half. Cut him a wee bit of slack.
The one thing I noticed from I obviously didn't watch the game, but I did watch the FA Cup semi-final or some of it. He's very slow. I mean, what age is he now? He'll be getting on.
Mid-30s, 35, 36, I
think. I think he's maybe speed-wise a bit past it for the Premier League. The Premier League's a very fast standard of football. I'm not saying hey, he's not a good footballer.
He's 32. Saying,
oh, well, he's slow then. He's a slow 32.
Thing is, Thiago Silva's 40.
Good point, actually.
And managed. Van Dijk's not the quickest defender and getting on a bit. His mental ability should be making up for his lack of physical ability, and I don't think it is. Someone also said, I can't remember who it was, I read it, about Casemiro's fitness being questionable. Like, I'm not one to talk, but like, he looks occasionally like he's just been at McDonald's for a week between the games.
Looked like Morelos in his low points.
Yeah. Like, it is Casemiro, like, I was never a fan of Man United signing Casemiro. I'm not the world's biggest Casemiro fan anyway. I think he's a liability and there's better players out there. As good as he can be, for me, the bad outweighs the good.
Yeah.
He's just not. The problem is, the Man United team in general, it's lacking everything.
It's just Man United fans are frustrated, and understandably so. It's a bit of a bad situation. I just feel like it's went from worse to worse.
Pretty much every player they said was going to be up for sale this summer.
Understandable. So Ten Hag
admitted Højlund and Onana. Full stop.
Probably just Højlund. I'm not a big Onana fan.
I'm not a massive Onana fan, but I don't think he's done a ton wrong.
Well, it looks like Rashford will be on his way out because they've all turned on him, and he's down-tooled, or whatever the saying is.
Who buys him?
I know. You'd get a decent paycheck somewhere.
Saudi? Problem is, he's going to be on such big wages that is another Premier League club going to come in for him? I don't think they are.
Probably like a Spurs or an Arsenal.
Ticks the English quota. I don't think he fits in at Arsenal. 100% not. Spurs might. Newcastle might if the price was right, but Newcastle aren't going to spunk 70 million on a Marcus Rashford.
Maybe even a Chelsea, to be honest. They would spunk that much money on it.
They would, but again, I don't think he fits with Chelsea. I know Chelsea just
That
sign players willy-nilly, but I don't think he fits within the loose description of what Chelsea might call a team.
It doesn't, but it goes into their transfer strategy of let's spend all this money on someone who's got a good name and see how it goes. Sorry, I've got
If they sell Raheem Sterling, I could see them buying Marcus Rashford.
Erik Ten Hag noted that their 4-0 loss to Crystal Palace is the lowest point of their season, and but he still believes he's the right manager for the job. I don't.
Who else is?
That's the other issue. That's what I'm coming on to. That was a good segue.
The place is such a poison chalice that no one in their right mind would want it.
Well, here's one for you, and I'll like to hear your reaction to this one. Mourinho has apparently said that he would walk back into managing that team, considering he got sacked in December 2018.
Yeah.
He was sacked by Roma in January after 2.5 years in charge. He's apparently very, very friendly with Jim Ratcliffe, who's the co-owner now. But yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. Surely not.
You're telling me man who wants any job, has came out and said he will happily have a job.
True. To be fair, I could say that.
Literally, I've seen two names linked, and it's Mourinho and Tuchel. And both of them are people that no one else wants to employ.
Give it gigs at the end of the season.
Do you know what? I could see Man United being so stupid and giving it to Tuchel, because Tuchel is basically a modern Mourinho.
Yeah.
Do you know what? There's actually quite a nice line in terms of like au fait managers of Mourinho, Conte, Tuchel, all the same type of manager. Will come in, probably win you the league, if not another trophy. After about 18 months to 2 years, the whole squad takes the huff, they disappear. But they get you instant success.
Mm.
And that's the managerial appointment. If they choose to change manager, will say more about the new approach at Manchester United than anything else.
Yeah. Well, who would you say is a candidate? Or
who would I appoint? Who do I think would be good to appoint, or who do I think they will appoint?
No, let's start off with who you think they would be good to appoint. And
Graham Potter.
Didn't do so well at Chelsea, though.
No one in their right mind would have done well in that situation at Chelsea.
True. I'll give you that one.
That situation at Chelsea was completely abnormal. Graham Potter would develop the young players, try and do a bit. Like, Graham Potter is a manager for a long-term project. If they bring in someone, like, do they want short-term success or a long-term build?
I think they wanted the long-term build when Alex Ferguson left, and it's still not started. So it's going to be a long year build, which I don't think. In terms of the Man United board, probably a long build. In terms of the Man United fan base, it's instant success. That's what
Who have they appointed since Ferguson left? Moyes.
Yeah, Moyes was first to take over after
Van
Fergie. Yeah, I can't remember if he was
missing a name. Is it Moyes, Van Gaal, Mourinho, Solskjaer, Ten Hag? Is that the...
Oh, who? Rangnick? Was he?
Rangnick, but kind of temporary.
Yeah, he was only ever going to be covering it anyway, wasn't he? I can't find
they've appointed two potential
Ferguson, Moyes, Giggs as caretaker, Van Gaal, Mourinho, Solskjaer, Carrick as caretaker, Rangnick is interim, and then Erik Ten Hag.
So you've got Ten Hag, who is a project manager and it's not worked. You've got Moyes, that was a project manager and didn't work. And you've got two people who are instant successes and kind of worked in Van Gaal and Mourinho. And then you've got...
Solskjaer wasn't horrendous. He won them a Europa League, didn't it?
The fact that Solskjaer wasn't horrendous is really funny because he's shit.
Yeah, and to be honest, the fact that I've said that he was all right when he only won the Europa League kind of shows the standard that Man United have fallen to.
He underachieved in Norway. He got Cardiff relegated, and he got Man United conceding 7 against Liverpool.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Like, the Man United embarrassing themselves pretty much every alternate weekend started with Solskjaer.
Yeah.
And they've not got out of it.
When
Potter would be a good idea. The problem is there are too many egos in the dressing room.
Yeah.
You know, is there actually anyone who you could bring in who would massage the egos and make them work together? Because possibly a short-term success manager is someone who can do that.
Yeah, to be fair to David Moyes, he won them the Community Shield. That was a big feat.
That's why I'm really worried about Tuchel. So I heard, I can't remember who it was, some German football people talking about how Tuchel just does not care for egos. So Tuchel in that Man United team would probably be hell.
He'd have to play himself. He'd literally just be him in the reserves.
Yeah.
Which is good. Which I think it might be a good thing. It might not be great straight away. He brings in his own philosophy, gets rid of the airheads and gets on with it. But to be fair, there's so much else going on at Man United.
The minute he gets rid of the airheads, the minute he loses the fan base.
Yeah. But the thing is, the issue is there's so much more going on at Man United than just the football.
Are they going to have to sell to buy in the summer as well?
I would imagine so. But then you've also got your controversial moments like we're not going into it, but Greenwood and other players who are mainly Greenwood, but which is a bit, that's another non-full bill and deal they'll have to deal with, but that's the mess they're in at the minute. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see who would replace. Let's be honest, I'm under the impression that Erik Ten Hag will be gone by the end of this season. Well, at the end of the season.
I'm under the impression he's going to go as well. I'm still not sure. Like, I've offered another project manager as a potential name. The more I think about it, it's the same problems that there are currently. I don't actually think there's an easy fix. I think the answer is long-term pain. And to be honest, is finishing 8th really long-term pain? Not really. Come back to me when you've been relegated.
Get Graham Murphy. He does well taking over. Sorry,
Hoisty.
I'm just thinking of that photo with the thing going up.
John Carver.
Couple more days with the tin hats on, they'll be all right.
But this happens. Like, big teams that were once really successful, collapse. Man United would be the biggest example to date, but you do have the Forest and Leeds of old and the Villa of old who are just kind of getting back in that direction after kind of trying under O'Neill. Big teams collapse. It happens. If it's going to happen in Man United, it's going to be really funny for everyone else, but you can't say there isn't sometimes just the changing of the guard and you're gone.
Yeah.
Readjust your expectations. Getting European football is probably an achievement.
At this rate, it will be. If they won the FA Cup, I'll be pretty surprised. I was speaking to a Man United fan the other day, and I said, "Are you feeling confident?" And he laughed in my face because I think.
Do you know what though? Would it be completely beyond Man United to win that game 1-0?
Yeah, and which is a good point actually, which I was going to come on to. You're
They're
right.
So hot and cold.
Yeah. Could come out like prime Man United and pull out the bag, but you never know. It'll be an interesting watch nonetheless.
Yes.
Well, yeah, no game this week because there's only 2 of us, so you'll have to wait till next week. Greg's streak continues. He's happy with that, I think. But we'll move on.
Imagine a week to the streak regardless. We do have predictions.
Yeah, I'll go for it. It's my pick this week. I've got no stats here. Just gonna have to deal with it. I'm on the wrong page. Apologies. Right. Well, on Saturday we're starting off big game, Old Firm. Obviously at Parkhead, kicks off 12:30. Sky Sports main event. Check it out. Who do you think, Greg?
That's it.
I need to get the 2 different windows here. Sorry. Kyle says draw. Kyle thinks it's going to be a draw. He's gave me his answers in advance.
What a good lad.
I know. I can't say he's not good, does he? Where are we next? Let's go to technically the championship playoff. Hamilton versus Alloa. What are you thinking?
Hamilton versus Alloa.
I'm going academical. Oh, I never said. I'm obviously going Rangers for the last one.
What did Kyle go again?
Draw.
I'm going Hamilton for the Hamilton game.
Yeah, so am I, and so it is Kyle. Where are we after that? Sorry, the predictions are all over the place in terms of positioning on my screen.
I was going to say, did you miss the championship one? No, you didn't.
No, that is the
So
championship
it's
one.
League
And then,
Two. Yeah, it's League Two.
yeah, and
Spartans.
Peterhead versus Spartans.
I'm going Spartans.
Tails went Peterhead. I'm going to go draw it in regular time.
Yeah, cool.
Where will we go after that?
Premier League.
Yes. Everton versus Sheffield United. I'm going the Toffees.
I'm going Everton. I'm going to wash my mouth out with soap after this.
Kyle also agrees. Everton. Where am I going to go? We'll go to the Bundesliga for Mainz versus Borussia Dortmund. Obviously, Borussia Dortmund have now qualified for the Champions League final. Big feat.
Yes, and they faced the side they drew 2-2 with to fail to win the league last year. Dortmund, anyway, for me.
Dortmund for me and Dortmund for Kyle.
Cool. And the last game?
And the last game is on another screen. No, it's not. It was sorry. Mallorca versus Las Palmas.
I've gone for draw.
Kale's went Mallorca, so I'll go Las Palmas.
Great. Thank you very much, Robert.
You're right. Apologies for the amateur predictions, but it was me that I took charge of that on this week. But yeah, thank you very much for tuning in. Much appreciated as always. We do apologise again after last week, but these things happen. And to be honest, we've been pretty consistent, so you can just take 1 week off.
And the showdown will be coming soon.
Yeah, that's the big project coming up. So it'll make up for that wee blip. But yeah, thank you very much.
Fault.
I mean, I'm not saying it is. He's just not here to defend himself, so you've got ammo. But yeah, thank you very much for listening. If there's anything else you'd like to see us cover in the next few weeks, just give us a shout and comment below. Who do you think West Ham should replace Moyes with? And who do you think should replace Erik Ten Hag if he does go? Let us know down below. Like the video, subscribe and all that jazz, and get us on the socials as well.
Ring the notification bell.
Yeah, do that. But yeah, thank you very much for listening. This has been episode 78. See you later.
Godspeed.
No, he's not here to do it. So for them. That was like ASMR. But if you were shouting, it would be.